providing resources and comfort to caregivers. This is Caregiver Crossing.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for being here. I'm Tina McIntosh.
I'm Terry Lynn Stacy.
I'm Noah Taylor.
And we are at the Joyce House studio, bringing you Caregiver Crossing. If it's your first time, you might want to know what you're listening to. And that is our show here, brought to you by Joyce House, presented in partnership with Cardon and Associates. And we are here every single week to talk about things related to caregiving. See the name Caregiver Crossing? See what we did there?
I get it. Mm-hmm. Oh. I get it, and I love it.
All right. One cool thing that has happened in your life since the last time we were together.
Can I start?
Please.
All right. Well, we've talked about it on the show, but since the last time we were together, I got to go to a death cafe at Joyce House.
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
you did.
And let me just tell you, it was what an incredible
And what
experience.
is it? Explain what that is, because it sounds, for those just tuning in for the first time, it does sound alarming.
It sounds a little bit scary. I will say that. Death Cafe,
Yeah.
it was really just a nice community event where we invited people from the community to come into Joyce House and speak about death. It's a really relaxing, inviting environment to talk about a super hard topic. And we served cake and tea. We split up into small groups and kind of just asked each other lighthearted questions at first, and then getting into more serious stuff later in the night. It was really, really incredible, and I was super happy to see a lot of younger people like myself, too.
Yep. There were 30, 35 people here for it. And it's much like our Death Over Drafts, but without any alcohol.
Yeah.
And here and at Joyce House. Yeah. I hear the best things about the night.
It was fantastic.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. You want to know?
And I think it's also great that younger people are saying, you know, maybe my generation before me didn't talk about it so much, but I'm comfortable enough that I can do something like this because it's important.
There's only one way
cool.
out of this world.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about it and address the fears around it.
Yeah.
Well, I did not join you at the Death Cafe because you want to know my one cool thing?
I do.
Remember how last week on the show we talked about illnesses and how to clean your house and like steer clear of illnesses?
I do, but this doesn't sound very cool.
Well, I ended up with influenza A for the second month in a row.
Oh, great.
That is pretty cool.
On top of my brain radiation.
That sounds awful.
Your immunities must just be down.
I don't know. The doctors say that's not the case. And my house is clean, they say. I mean, like, I was like, is it still in our system? Like, why? And they said, no, you just got lucky. And I said, well, I don't feel very lucky. So if you hear that,
sorry.
you know, grumble in my voice, I'm just on the side of the flu, the
hard
true
to
lung
stay
flu.
well. It is hard to stay well right now, Noma, because
it is.
We are among people.
We are among people. Now,
you know, one of the most healthiest times I ever was in my life, I think,
COVID.
was when I wore a mask.
Yes.
Every day. I mean, that was a healthy knock on year.
And let's be honest, you were like scrubbing down every apple that came into your house or everything. But all right, we need one cool thing about you because we have something that Noah is going to burst.
Oh, okay.
About sharing.
I'm so excited.
The one good thing that happened this week. Well, let's see. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of MC work.
Yes, you have.
And was at a pretty big event that happens here in central Indiana, in Indianapolis, at the fairgrounds. It's the home show.
Well, she was building up to that.
I was emceeing. No, I made it bigger probably than it really is because in Indianapolis it's big. But anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I had probably more than a half a dozen people that stopped to talk to me, not about my job at WIBC and the little magazine show I have. They all wanted to talk about Caregiver Crossing.
Oh, stop
and
it.
And what it has meant to them hearing. And in one instance, brought tears to the young lady who is caregiving. And it just meant the world to me that people are listening and learning. And if they're not learning, they feel like they have a companion. And so that really meant a lot to me. And I know it does to you too.
Yeah.
And because you never know. You never know if you just never know when you're on the radio and there's the three of us in a room. We like to think we're talking to a large audience, but you just don't know who's listening.
Well,
so I love when you comment and you make a comment because then I can see your face when I'm thinking about who we're talking to.
Agreed. And if we could just send a hug right now, would be great.
Okay,
we hug you.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
We really do. And if there's something you need, we're here. And I've said that a ton, passed out our numbers. And
please,
anyway.
anytime. Oh, that's so special.
So that was really a good part of the week.
That's wonderful. Now, before Noah explodes.
Okay.
We have only a couple of minutes, so go.
All right, I'm getting into it. February is very exciting. Spunky Old Broads Month, celebrating bold and fearless women over 50.
Spunky Old Broads Month.
Love it.
What in the world? This is great. Who came up with this?
Well, it was brought about by a spunky old broad herself, Dr. Gail Carson. She believes that it's for the women who are spunky, open, and brave. It is a day to celebrate them and their accomplishments and simply recognize their importance. Also, for the young ladies to prepare to become a spunky old broad someday.
All right. There's a question in here, right? But I have to tell you, part of my personal mission in life is to remain funky and fun and classy in everything I do. So funky, spunky, I'll take it.
This is so for you, yeah.
Past winners, Dolly Parton, Helen Mirren, Michelle Obama, Frida Kahlo, Goldie Hawn, Sharon Osbourne. I mean, come on. And so, Terry, question for you.
Yeah.
Who would you nominate for the Spunky Old Broad of the Year 2025?
Oh, that is a great question. You're not old enough to be a spunky old broad yet.
I actually am.
What's
I'm
our
almost
age?
53. It's over 50, but I don't qualify.
Over 50.
Needs to be somebody
spunky old
not in this
Patty
room.
Patty Spitler.
I love that.
I love her.
Patty.
And she would, I'm around her. There's no, my energy, which I think is pretty high, can't even compete with her energy and her zest for life and her curiosity and her toughness.
Okay, for people who don't know Patty, who is she?
Patty Spitler was a longtime host here at Wish TV, Channel 8. And she still now has, even after that retirement, and listen, folks, she has cochlear implants in her ears. I mean, she had a hard time hearing and learned how to really read your mouth and just kept going and going until she just decided, I'm going to retire. And now she hosts a show which is seen nationwide, Pet Pals. And then she also has Great Day TV, which is here within the state.
And you partner with her?
I'm one of her reporters. She gives old broads like me other opportunities when others have shut the door and said, you're too old now. Not out loud, mind you, but you know.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. You feel it. You'll know it when they're trying to shove you out a little
Patty
bit.
is, I'm telling you, she is the right, and she has a great book. She's interviewed everybody.
Everybody.
Noah. Everybody.
I mean, everybody.
You
From
name
Sounds
it.
incredible.
musicians, movie stars.
Robin Williams.
Just
Wow.
comedians.
Like people, like, not like
So
you
real
and me.
celebrities.
Right, yes,
Yeah, like
yes.
real celebrities.
Real famous people.
Yeah.
All right. How about you? Do you have a spunky old broad?
I don't know. I'm going to vote Patty, too. I mean, she sounds really cool.
Jump on the paddy wagon. Look what
That's
I
a
did.
good one.
That's
a
really
good one.
cute. I would throw in Joanne Burke, Dr. Joanne Burke, who is the chair for the Commission on Aging. She loves people. She loves to fight for a cause. She loves miniature horses, and usually
I wish
smells
I could
like,
know her.
Well, she smells like a barn because she volunteers
love
with
that.
the minis, and she is one of the smartest, most in the best of ways, aggressive people that I know, and she is a spunky old broad. I think she would own that. So I know we have to take a break. All right, you're listening to Caregiver Crossing. We are a show for family caregivers and the people who love them. We're brought to you every week by Joyce House in partnership with our friends at Cardon and Associates, and we're here every weekend to bring you support, education, and we hope you get a good laugh out of what we do here. Visit caregivercrossingradio.org to connect with us and to hear past podcasts. Again, that website is caregivercrossingradio.org. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing shortly. We're back on Caregiver Crossing. I'm Tina McIntosh in studio with Terry Stacy.
Hello.
Noah Taylor.
Hello.
And we have someone wonderful with us, Tim Harms.
Yay!
And Tim is the Senior Director, Marketing Communications at the American Heart Association. We all know their name. Sometimes I think even when we're very familiar with an organization, it's hard to know what you really do. You have been there for 15 years. Is that right?
15 years and still learning new things about what we do.
Well, right. And it changes. And so we're really happy to have you here with us today. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I've sure known you a long time, and I'm happy to see your face. Normally, we're just talking on the phone, but let's talk a little bit about the biggest misconceptions when it comes to our heart health. I think a lot of times we're just in denial that little pain, that little cramp, that little something we feel in our heart, it's just nothing and it'll go away. But you tell us, what are some misconceptions?
Well, I think you're spot on, Terry. When you think about, let's talk about just heart attacks, right?
Yeah.
The common warning signs and symptoms would be chest pain, but it's often a little bit subtle, right? It's not always the elephant on the chest type of pain.
It's always different for women too,
and it's different.
right?
Sometimes it's a little jaw pain or shoulder pain, a little nausea, and you think, gosh, what is this? Did I eat something wrong? Did I just pull a muscle? Maybe I should just lay down. It can be hard. If it's not the elephant on the chest type of pain, it can be hard to know. And I think what we like to tell people is you know your body best. And so if something feels off, take it seriously. We have a number of physicians on our board of directors, and they will always say, go in and get checked. They'd rather have you go in and get checked and it be nothing than you not get checked and have something terrible happen to you.
As
really
someone
is.
who's been to the hospital more than once
yeah.
for thinking I was having a heart attack, just with stress and health stuff that I've had, I think I've maybe been 2 or 3 times, and they've been wonderful. And there was one time it was my polyp. I had polyps on my ovaries that had, cysts that had erupted, but then it caused pain everywhere. And then another time it was just anxiety. And then another time I think it was acid reflux, and I had to drink that horrible drink that numbs your entire body from the inside out. I don't regret going any of those times, because what if?
Right.
What if that's the time you don't get in the car and get yourself to the ER or to a doctor to be checked out?
Yeah, and the good thing is, they can hook up the EKGs that show the heart rhythms. They can do a quick blood draw to see if the various proteins and chemicals are in there that show that you're having a heart attack or not.
Yeah, and heart disease is still the leading cause of death in the U.S.? Is that true?
It is the leading cause of death for both men and women, and so we are just out there raising awareness about that fact so that people do take care of their hearts.
Do we see, sorry, Terry, do we see as much heart disease in other countries?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't know the answer if it's the leading cause of death or not, but it is a serious concern. I think in the U.S. we have risk factors that are maybe more prevalent than in other places.
Yeah.
Our blood pressure, our levels of diabetes have been on the rise, our obesity. We probably have higher percentages of those in the United States than in some other countries, just because we've developed a lot of poor habits over the last few decades.
Is it 1 in 4 are affected by heart disease?
It's between 1 in 3 and 1 in 4.
1 in 3 and 1 in 4. And we're not talking about just older people. Heart disease is now affecting younger people as well. And it does make you want to think it's the life we're living. It's the food we're eating. Is it?
Majority of heart disease can be prevented by the lifestyle choices that we make, and by that we talk about mostly about diet and exercise. There's other factors as well. Getting the right amount of sleep affects your body and things like that. But diet and exercise, those lifestyle, not smoking, those lifestyle change or choices make a huge impact. But of course, there are people whose DNA, whose family history, they're just kind of predisposed. You could do all the exercise you want. You may still have high cholesterol, or you still may have diabetes, and those things then may need medication to be controlled, even if you're leading what you would say would be a healthy lifestyle.
I will say, if you can get to have an opportunity to get a heart scan, many heart scans out there are $50. And you can have a heart scan. So particularly since it's still February, you can still get a certificate for a $50 heart scan, and it is fantastic.
It is so easy to do,
It's so
too.
easy to do. It can be done in just a short amount of time, and it kind of can give you a little bit of a peace of mind, at least what your heart looks like at that moment,
It's
right?
It's one tool, yeah. It doesn't diagnose every cause of heart disease or every factor, but it certainly gives a picture of some aspects of it, which is vital, yeah.
Okay, so here's a question for you. If someone is listening, they haven't been to the doctor for a while, what's the first step they should take to assess their heart health?
Yeah, well, I would say make that appointment with your primary care physician and get it checked out. And if you don't, one thing would certainly be blood pressure. Blood pressure is one of the biggest risk factors for heart disease or heart attack and stroke. And so there's a lot of, even your CVS's and Walgreens and places like that have blood pressure stations in them. We're working on some programs actually unveiling very soon, where we're going to have blood pressure cuffs in every single library in the UIndy library system.
That
That's
is
wonderful.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
we're working on programs like that. We work with a lot of healthcare centers. So for people who may not have health insurance and are going to some healthcare centers that are kind of outside of the hospital systems, we work with them on blood pressure programs. And so that would be step one. If you can just get your blood pressure checked, and if it's 120/80 or under, you're in pretty good shape. If it's over that, then probably worth kind of monitoring it, or even seeing a physician and getting that checked out.
Tim Harms is our guest. He is with the Indiana Heart Association. The American Heart Association promotes Life's Essential 8 for good heart health. What is that?
Yeah, so we've, over all the research and the science that has come in, we've kind of identified 8 factors for ideal heart health. We've kind of hit on a couple of those already, being diet and exercise, being critical, and sleep, I had mentioned. And then a couple of the others that have also already kind of tangentially been mentioned, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, not using tobacco products. Those are kind of the 8 factors for ideal heart health.
It's been an interesting conversation about labeling alcohol. I don't know if you've seen that of late, of labeling that it could be a risk factor. I was thinking it was heart disease, but now I'm rethinking it. It may be cancer. But they're thinking
cancer.
about it's cancer. They're
Yeah.
going to relabel those bottles.
But let's be honest, what it makes me think of in this conversation is whatever we're putting in our body has
right.
consequences, right?
Right.
Yeah.
With intention.
Yeah.
I mean, I just ate 2 Thin Mints. I knew what I was doing. They were wonderful. Nobody yelled at me. And I only had 2. So take that, Noah.
There you go. I would have had 40.
It's hard to only have 2 Thin Mints. There's no doubt.
But it is true. Like what we put in our body affects everything.
Yeah.
And where we've gone at the American Heart Association, you mentioned I've been here 15 years. When I started, we did have, I would say, more specific dietary guidelines, right? And the USDA too. So many servings of fruits and vegetables, so
Yes.
many servings. We've really gone now to recommending really just balanced lifestyles, because we realized, I think, that people, they were putting pressure on themselves. I can't have any cake. It's somebody's birthday. I can't have any cake. We're saying do it in moderation, right? And that's kind of the key.
Is moderation. Yeah.
Yeah.
On everything. I mean,
On everything.
So if somebody wanted to learn more, I know we don't have time, but you brought some resources with you for caregivers. Can we link those to our Facebook page, or is there a way to get information out?
Yeah, our website is heart.org.
Heart.org.
And on there, I would suggest, if people want caregiver resources, which there are quite a few, just to use the search bar on there and search for caregiver resources, because we do have a lot. Our website has information about all the different heart conditions. It has information about healthy eating and exercise and how to go grocery shopping, and just all kinds of resources you wouldn't necessarily think might be at heart.org. Check it out.
Heart.org. Tim Harms, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the work you've been doing for 15 years and will continue to do. Thank you.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you weekly by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. Visit joycehouse.org to connect with us, hear past episodes, learn more about caregiver support resources in the community, and much, much more. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing shortly.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Caregiver Crossing. We are thrilled to welcome a very special guest today, somebody who is passionate about creating true belongings for people with disabilities. His name is Michael Hicks. He is a graduate student at the University of Indianapolis, pursuing his master's in applied sociology and earned, I should say, his bachelor's in sociology and community leadership. That's a lot. I mean, it's just a lot. I can't wait for y'all to talk to him and hear from him. His work focuses on representation, advocacy, and shifting the way society views individuals with disabilities. Michael also serves as a Belonging Fellow at the University of Indianapolis, working to create more inclusive spaces and meaningful opportunities for students. Thank you so much for coming in here, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I should actually, you start.
All right, I'm going to start it
Noah,
off.
Noah, you actually just ran into him at some point.
Yeah, I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Michael at a sort of a career fair for nonprofits at the University of Indianapolis. And one of the things that that stood out to me and what really got us talking a lot was your passion for shifting how society views people with disabilities. Can you tell us a little bit how that passion started for you?
My own experience and observations in everyday life, because, societal perception about people with disabilities, they need to be placed in a bubble or they need a lot of help. It's just a lot of negative connotations and stereotypes. And being born with cerebral palsy myself, I had to work, especially when I was younger, to gain acceptance among my peers. And it's really just my own experience. You look at me and you might see that disability is obvious to some or not obvious at all to others, but I just get tired of the misconceptions, and now more than ever, because the disabled community is growing, now more than ever we need to create that social change and understand that disability is really an alternative ability. It doesn't have to have any negative connotation or anything like that behind it. It'll be a whole new light for social change.
Michael, do you ever feel like people take it too easy on you?
Yes, I did. Growing up, my whole family always acted like they knew my plight better than I did. They thought I needed all this help.
You were fragile, right?
Yes.
You had a diagnosis, you were fragile, or people were probably careful around you. Or I even think sometimes people, my experience is people are afraid to say things. Like I gave you a hard time when you just sat down and you gave me a great big laugh and I thought, oh, we're going to get along great, right? I mean,
Yep.
But it doesn't always happen, does it?
Oh, no. It's, in the outside world, it can be a real hit or miss experience. Some people understand and some people need to be educated right there on the spot. And just from my own experiences, because my cerebral palsy was much more obvious in my formative years, I had to go through physical therapy sessions and I was wearing braces on my legs, walked with a cane, and I had the ugliest pair of glasses that Lens Crafters had in stock.
Oh, man.
Good choice.
Yeah.
And so there was always this preconceived notion among my family that I needed to be smothered with help at all times. I couldn't do anything for myself. That was the idea that, well, you're not going to be able to see that. You need to look at that bigger. You can't see that. Like, I can, actually. You don't see the world through my eyes. How would you know? And
Yeah.
my studies actually opened me up to a whole new world out there of ableism. It's the idea that there is non-disabled superiority. And the whole idea behind ableism is, one of the tiers to it, let's say, is throwing help at a disabled person who clearly does not need it, and then shaming them or otherwise trying to make them feel bad for not accepting the help. And that was the environment I grew up in a nutshell. Like, driving was always an issue for me too, and I'd rather walk places. So if the weather was chilly and I still had to get to work, they would all be, let us give you a ride. Come on, we'll give you a ride. No, I'll walk. Let us give you a ride. No, I said I'd walk. Like, you are so ungrateful. We're just trying to help. Yes, but I didn't ask for that help.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate
really
hearing you say
a good
that.
point. Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that too, because I've made that mistake several times myself over and over again. And to hear it come from you, I think I just learned something really important about myself and how I can do better. And in my introduction of you, I mentioned that you were a Belonging Fellow.
Yes.
At the University of Indianapolis. Help us understand what that is. I've not heard those words before.
I myself was taken aback when I was hired for the position because I didn't understand what a Belonging Fellow was either. Now, I work more specifically in the Office of Inclusive Excellence, and that's a safe space for any student who needs to be pointed in the right direction. Maybe they don't know how to receive a service or they need some help in another way. That's where you come to see us. And the Belonging Fellows are just advocates to make sure that whatever you're into, whatever your passionate is, that you belong.
I like
We never
those
want you to
words.
feel left out
Yeah.
at the university.
So I know Noah has more questions for you too, and we're going to run out of time way sooner than we want to. I want one thing, though. You just mentioned the word inclusion. How do you feel about it?
I feel that there needs to be more of it in today's society, especially among the disabled community, because they always want to be pushed out. They always want to be, they want to be pushed out by the non-disabled members of society. But inclusion, I just want to be able to, that's my silly little dream of social change, is to be able to unite the disabled community with the non-disabled community for a chance to take inclusion to a whole new level so that everybody can be a part of the bigger picture. Doesn't have to be about the abilities you do have or don't have or differences, because a disability really just adds value to a person. It's a difference that should be celebrated.
It's a depth, right?
Yes.
It's a depth. It's a gift that you have. So what else, Noah, now that Terry and I have taken all your time and questions?
Sorry.
But you're right.
Yes.
He's really cool. And so we're here.
Yes, we are. I mean, so excited about this opportunity for our listeners to get to hear more from Michael. So for caregivers who want to advocate better for their loved ones, whether it is in education or healthcare or maybe, their workplace too, what is one step that we can take to create a more inclusive environment?
Arm yourself with knowledge. In the world that we live in, where we could do easy Google searches and read books online, the greatest sense of power that anybody can bring to it is just arm yourself with knowledge, read, empower yourself, and you'll have a better understanding and a better relationship with your loved one. You'll be in a better position to help others who need it. And that's help itself is always still very much an issue among the disabled community, in that a lot of us are apprehensive to ask for it. But the more the whole community arms themselves with knowledge, less people we're going to have being afraid of that, getting that kind of support.
And if I may add, like, there's studies out there about it just takes one experience with somebody different than you to be branded, right? So
Yes.
if I meet somebody with one leg, now I, right or wrong, think everybody with one leg is kind of branded for me. I would say to anybody, but particularly non-disabled people, which I think is what you said, right? Non-disabled people?
Yes.
Is that right? Meet somebody who has an evident diagnosis. We all have a diagnosis. Meet somebody who has an evident diagnosis and recognize, like, this is Michael Hicks. He's a cool guy. I'm going to imagine a lot of things, one of which is a grown man living with cerebral palsy, right? Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Very fair, yes.
And your message in 20 seconds or less, or Noah's going to kick us all out, to people who are non-disabled people, any message that you would share in closing?
Just listen. The disabled person has a chance to be your educator. So don't go into it with any preconceived notions, and especially don't assume anything about a person, even if that assumption might seem so overtly obvious to another. Just ask, listen, I'll be an opportunity to take in new information that you didn't know before, and then you'll be armed with that knowledge.
Wow.
Just be a listener.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being here today.
Thank you for
We
having
really
me.
appreciate it.
I appreciate having the opportunity. It's a great discussion.
You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a show designed for family caregivers and the people who love them. Caregiver Crossing is brought to you weekly by Joyce House in partnership with Cardon and Associates. We're here every week to bring you support, education, and hopefully a good laugh. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Caregiver Crossing right after the break.
Hey, we're back on Caregiver Crossing. Thanks for sticking around. We're sad that we almost have to go. I'm Tina McIntosh in studio with my co-host Terry Stacy.
Yo.
And our wonderful producer, Noah Taylor.
Hello.
Okay. Sorry, that was not about you. That was about me.
Okay.
Okay, then, Noah. That came out wrong.
Boy,
What I meant
tell us
was,
something good.
Hey, Noah.
Let's get into some good news.
All right. How do you feel about living until you are about, 85.6 years old?
I think that's not bad.
Yeah? Well, good,
Yeah.
because the life expectancy is projected to be 85.6 years by the year 2060, which is not as far away as you think it is.
It's really not. I mean,
You
we're
might
closer
actually
to...
be 85.6 in 2060.
I'm going to be close.
You'll be
2060 is
dead.
Will you?
closer to
Oh,
us
yeah, I'll be
than
dead.
1980.
Sorry, I won't be here to see that.
That's so
But
weird. We will be dead.
We'll be gone. Yeah, we don't have much time. We
We got to go. Thanks for being here.
All right.
We gotta.
and
Although
thank you for
women do
listening.
live longer than men in general,
Yeah, but here's
statistics wise.
But here's the thing. It's not. I'm taking a class at Harvard right now. Did you
Really?
know that? I'm a
No.
Harvard student. Yeah, it's just online class. You could do
I
it
was
too.
gonna say,
But
is
it's
it
about
one-
happiness as we age. It's a really
good.
interesting class.
How much did it cost to take it? Is it expensive?
$58,000. Not true. But it is all about, it's not just about adding years. It's about adding life to the years and
Quality.
happiness and purpose. And so, there's this social connection is a huge part of it. And right now, we have an epidemic of loneliness. And it's a real thing. The U.S. Surgeon General has called loneliness an epidemic and emphasizing that we have to have better support for each other. What does it come back to? Community.
Absolutely.
Really community. So as we think about aging, we've got to stay connected with other people. All right, let's go back to the days when we used to communicate by chisel and rock here. Really, what was the way we communicated with each other? Terry, when you were a kid, when I was a kid.
It was to be with each other in the neighborhood. You're talking about like that?
We were
community?
person to person.
Neighborhood.
Right?
Neighborhood was everything.
Maybe you hopped on a party line and you talked to some people on the phone. That was it.
Maybe. There was no party line.
I had a party line. It was so much fun. That's a different therapy session.
Have it. You did not.
Okay. It was, but that's how we communicated. We were in person. We wrote a letter, or we were on the phone with each other. And you know who you are when you got on the phone, and your mom would pick it up in the other room, and you'd be like, "Mom, hang up," and then you had the cord, and you went all the way into the bathroom. You stretched it in there, right, and then call waiting came along. That's a whole different thing, but. I think you're right. We are very disconnected now. And I get overstimulated in the 1,000 ways I'm supposed to keep in touch with people.
I know. It's a lot.
And sometimes, a friend told me one time, I had invited her. She has since passed away. Her name was Anne. I would invite Anne. She never got married. She never had children. I would invite Anne every holiday to our house. Anne, come for Thanksgiving. Come be with us at Christmas. Come be with us. And she said, Tina, I never feel more alone than when I'm in a crowded room. And I think about that with all the ways we connect, right? It's LinkedIn, it's X, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's email, it's Teams, it's text, it's phones, it's writing, it's in person. Am I missing anybody here?
I think
Probably.
you got everything.
Yeah.
Is MySpace still a thing?
I don't know.
It's all these ways. And so I feel as if I've connected with people and I've lost. This makes me wonder. I feel connected with a lot of people and then with me through all my health stuff. And I wonder if it's because I've done those caring bridges when I'm sick, every time I'm sick.
Well, that is maybe.
Because it's a connection.
It's a connection.
Interesting.
What we're starting to also learn is many of those that we're connected to will often go away to see how many people they're really connected to. How many people will care if you've gone away from social media?
Well, don't
for a
you
minute.
get those
This has
things
become
on
kind of an
Facebook?
experiment for people.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go away and see if anybody cares enough. These are so-called friends of mine to even connect with me, to take the moment to say, "Are you okay?" or is something going on. This has become a test for people.
It is so hard. And
Because,
when we look at these top causes of loneliness in seniors, there are a few that really pop up. It's hard to get around. There's a mobility issue and it's hard to get around, or there's a memory loss. And so you're not socializing in the same way. Maybe people aren't in your life like they used to be. You're separated, maybe in distance by family and friends. And let's be honest, schedules get crazy and we just don't spend time together. Or there's a loss of a spouse. And so you have this deep emotional isolation and people maybe don't know how to show up for you, or you're pushing them away, because let's be honest, both of those happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
So ways that you as a caregiver, or I would suggest for somebody that you love who is a caregiver or has a diagnosis in their life, or just another human maybe, is use technology. Have you done that with people, like to stay in touch?
Yeah, with my grandparents, we've definitely talked over Zoom or,
It's
over
such a
FaceTime.
blessing that you have that in this generation
It
for
really
you all to
is.
stay connected to your grandparents.
And it's so different being able to have that face-to-face
It
interaction
is,
over
for them
technology
too.
Right, you're not just typing, you're actually getting to
Yeah.
talk with that
Yeah.
person face-to-face.
Well, communication is very little about the words. It's
Right.
about the intonation. It's about how you're showing up with your physicality. So it's important for us to see each other. Sorry,
Yeah.
I say that as y'all can't see us.
As you
Don't
can
worry,
only
Noah's
hear our
going to make us.
voices.
Noah's going to make us do stupid videos while we're recording.
One day you might see us.
Grr. Also, creating social opportunities. So you be the one to say, hey, we're going to do dinner. I held a French dinner for my family a couple of weeks ago, and it was wonderful. Everybody had to make a French dish and bring it. It was great.
It's a great idea.
Just have people over. Consider senior livings or adult day services so that built-in socialization can reduce loneliness. And so what else are other ideas as we're talking about aging to 85.6 years old?
I did like something Dr. Hoy said last week. He said, always keep one mentor and always one student. I think that's
those are great words.
Say it one more time.
Always have at the same time one mentor above you and one student below you. So you're always being taught and you're always teaching.
And you're always teaching.
Yeah.
It's pretty
adds
smart.
value to your life, adds value to your quality of life.
Absolutely.
You know?
That Dr. Hoy, man, he was something. Go back and listen to that segment if
Good,
you haven't
good,
already.
good.
I
terrific.
think you'll love it. Well, here are a couple other things. Loneliness is a serious health risk. It's not just an emotion, and we talk about that a lot here. Small connections, like even a quick visit or a call, can have a really big impact, and you don't have to do it alone. There are community resources. If you want to know more about Caregiver Way, which is our online support for family caregivers, you can email me about that or anything else at tina@joycehouse.org.
Caregiver Crossing is supported by Cardon and Associates, with 20 communities owned, operated, or managed in the Midwest and more than 4 decades of senior living experience. Cardon and Associates provides residents with the best senior living options and personalized service. Until next time, take good care of each other.
Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet.
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.